Thank you for joining me again. A little backstory before we start. In January 2020, I had had surgery and it didn't go as planned, so I ended up being off longer than expected. And with nothing but time on my hand, I watched a lot of TV. And one of the shows that was on was Escape to the Chateau DIY. It's about these Brits who buy chateaus in France and fix them up. There's one woman on there, Stephanie Jarvis, and I don't know what it is. There's just something about her that draws you in. She was 29 when she bought the chateau with a friend of hers, and she just intrigued me, so I needed to know more. And I did a little Google search and found that she had 100 vlogs and she was still creating more. So I had nothing but time on my hands to catch up on all these vlogs. Now, she doesn't just do renovations, she travels, she talks about different subjects, driving through rural France and down these little roads and not a car in sight. And that's actually what drew me to going to rural France. I wasn't big on going to Paris and the big cities. Rural France is what I fell in love with. Her channel is the Château Diaries. I'll put a link in the description. I got up early in the morning and I let Selena sleep in. I went and grabbed a cafe and sat out on the terrace. And I got a hold of Natty. So Natty pretty much runs the chateau. It's also a B&B, and arranged to go there in the afternoon because my mom had done some cross-stitch pictures for Stephanie and her fiance Philip. And of course I brought maple syrup because I think there's some unwritten rule that if you're Canadian, you need to bring maple syrup to another country. I don't know. When Selena got up, we of course had to go and charge the car before we left. So we found a charger in La Chatra. While it was charging, we went and explored. I had my navigator with me this time so I didn't get lost in La Chatra. When I was editing the vlog and looking at the pictures and the videos, I realized we didn't take many of La Chatra. We were just too busy shopping. And maybe I was just too excited about going to Lande. I don't know. I guess that's another reason that I have to go back. I was standing in the center in La Chatra, and all of a sudden I recognized two people. It was Stephanie's aunt and uncle. They quite often are on her vlogs, Chantal and Stephen, and I had to go and introduce myself and say hi, and we chatted for a while. They're just such a wonderful couple, just so friendly. I really enjoyed chatting with them. Once the car was charged, we decided to head out to Lande. You drive down this road and it just takes you straight to the chateau. It just starts to appear through the trees. You go through these big iron gates and over the moat. It's just like a fairy tale. I actually was emotional, and I don't normally get like that. We brought the gifts in and we chatted with Natty for a while, and then she let us explore outside the grounds of Lande. She also let us check out the chapel. So when Stephanie bought Lande, the vaulted ceiling in the chapel, one of the corners was already missing. She had replaced the roof but couldn't afford to fix the vaulted ceiling. But recently it became dangerous to go into the chapel, so she was forced to fix it up quicker than she had planned. And in order to raise money, they came up with this brilliant idea. The ceiling has all these stars, so they sold the stars, and you could dedicate it to someone or buy it for yourself, whatever the reason. So I had originally bought one star for my mom, my daughter, and I. And the part of the vaulted ceiling that was missing was under Saint Henri, and each section is under a different saint. And my dad's name was Henning, but he always went by Henry. So I knew I had to buy a star in memory of my dad. The chapel was renovated by the same people who were working at Notre Dame in Paris after the fire. And you walk in there and it just glitters, and the light coming in through the stained glass windows, it's just, oh, it's spectacular. It really is. It just glitters with gold, and the paintings in there are so beautiful now that they've been all restored. And just seeing all those stars on the ceiling, it was a dream. We walked around outside at Lande and checked out the garden. And something that kind of surprised me is she has these sheep. And I didn't realize how tiny they were. I guess they're a miniature breed. But it's funny, when you watch something on TV or your computer or whatever, you don't always realize the size of things. And it just really shocked me to see how small they were. It's the same with, she has this little dog called Galahad, and I knew he was tiny, but when you see him in real life, he's really tiny. She's got peacocks walking around everywhere. It's just, it's an absolute dream to be there. We went into the walled vegetable garden. She has chickens in there, and this pergola that's covered with grapes. I may have stolen one grape. It was good. Couldn't resist it. Checked out the greenhouse, and then we went back in, chatted with Natty some more. She offered us coffee, and then Chantal and Steven showed up again, and we were chatting. Of course, with Steven, you get into politics, and Natty gave him crap for talking politics, but it was fun. I really enjoyed them. They are so friendly and welcoming. It was just a really lovely visit. But Stephanie and Philip weren't there, and they weren't really sure when they would show up, so we had already taken up more than enough of their time and decided to leave. Our next stop was to Châteauroux. Again, Selena did the Google search to find a hotel, and pictures can be very deceiving when you're looking for a hotel. It was by the train station. It was okay. It was like above a bar, restaurant type thing, and it was clean. That was the most important part. The door on the bathroom was a sliding door, and it was right off the rails, and we just had to kind of lean it up against the opening. The pillows. Now, pillows in France, I don't understand. They were about a third of the size of a standard pillow. Could they not afford the other 2/3? It was like this tiny little pillow, like a throw pillow. But they weren't the only ones. There was other hotels that were more expensive, and they had the same kind of pillows. It was very strange to me. It was a little sketchy in that area by the train station. I wasn't too comfortable about walking by myself at night, so I had Selena come with me this time. We made it okay. I mean, nothing happened, but it was an experience. I mean, we laugh about it now. The pillows, the door. I guess you need to have those kind of experiences. It makes your trip. Thank you for joining me, and I hope you stick around for more.